Hey there, and welcome to Family Revenge. We're so glad you're here. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay with us for every twist and turn. Let's jump right in. The moment we walked in, my mom barely looked up from basting the turkey. "Oh, you made it," she said, like she wasn't the one who insisted we come early. My fiancé, Lucas, smiled and handed her the wine. She thanked him more warmly than she greeted me. "My name's Kathy. I'm 31, live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and every Thanksgiving, I subject myself to this circus. This year, I brought Lucas. First time. Poor guy had no idea what he was walking into. We'd barely set our coats down before Kara came flying in. There she is, my gorgeous girl. My mom pulled her in for a hug like she'd just returned from war. Dad lit up too. Even the damn dog barked louder for her. I stood there holding a tray of pies I made from scratch. No one noticed. 9 minutes. That's how long it took for them to forget I was in the room. I time it every year just for fun. This year, new record. 8 minutes, 42 seconds. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. Dinner was fine if you like awkward silence, fake laughs, and my mom loudly praising Kara's promotion at the marketing firm. I work in finance, better pay, more stress, but somehow that never comes up. Kara mentioned she's thinking of buying a condo. My dad offered to co-sign without blinking. Lucas sat quietly, polite as hell, but I saw his eyes move, clocking everything. Every shrug, every side glance, every time someone cut me off mid-sentence. He didn't miss a thing. After dinner, my mom came back from the basement carrying a big plastic tub. "Look what I found," she said, all sing-song. The yearbooks, the damn family scrapbooks. Lucas glanced at me. I rolled my eyes so hard it almost gave me a headache. Mom flipped open the first one like it was some spontaneous moment of joy, like she hadn't staged this every damn year since I was 12. "Let's look back at our little angels," she said, patting the couch like we were 5 again. Kara bounced over immediately. Dad followed, beer in hand. Lucas sat down slowly, sensing the shift. I stood there in the kitchen doorway, arms crossed. Then I made myself walk over. Same show, different year, except this time, Lucas was here to see it for himself. My mom flipped the album open like it was just some spur-of-the-moment idea. "Oh, look at this," Kathy's second grade recital. "She was the little tulip," she said, laughing way too loud. Kara leaned in like she hadn't seen these pages 100 times. My dad squinted, probably half drunk already. I sat stiff on the edge of the couch cushion, staring at the page like it might explode. Lucas leaned forward with his elbows on his knees, looking casual, but I could tell he was analyzing everything. He didn't say much, just nodded along while my mom flipped to another plastic-sleeved page. "And here's the county fair." "Oh, look at that sunburn," she said, tapping my face in one of the photos. "You were always so pale." Lucas leaned in closer, real close. Then he reached across and gripped my hand under the coffee table, tight. I looked at him, confused, and he whispered without turning his head, "Don't you see it?" I blinked at the page again. Just me on a bench, holding a stuffed bear. Big, forced smile, bangs too short. Nothing weird, at least not on the surface. "What?" I whispered back. He glanced at my mom, who was flipping pages and narrating each one like she was on a damn documentary. Then he gave my hand a tiny squeeze. "Just play along." "I'll explain later," he muttered, eyes still locked on the book. I forced a laugh at something Kara said. My voice sounded like it belonged to someone else. Lucas leaned back again, his hand still on mine. I could feel the sweat on his palm. That wasn't like him. A few more pages went by. Halloween costumes, soccer games, a birthday party I don't remember, then another one, then a third. My face was in every shot, but now that he'd said it, something was off. I looked the same, exactly the same. Same smile, same tilt of the head, same damn face. Year after year. I felt sick. "Crap," I said, checking my watch like I'd just remembered something. "Babe, didn't you have that Zoom thing with your boss?" Lucas caught on quick. "Yeah, shoot, we should get going." "Totally forgot." My mom frowned. "Oh, already?" But we were just getting to Kathy's sweet 16, I stood up fast. "Next time, Mom." Sorry, we grabbed our coats, said rushed goodbyes, and bolted. Kara looked confused. Dad barely moved. Mom muttered something about leftovers. The second we got in the car and closed the doors, Lucas pulled something from his coat pocket. A few photos, actual photos, from the album. You stole them? I said, blinking. He held them up under the dome light. Look, really look, I took them. My throat went dry. One was supposedly from a camping trip in the mountains, another, a science fair, third, a Christmas photo in front of a fireplace. But it was the same face. My face. Cropped in just right. But the lighting? Wrong. Shadows didn't match. Hair part was identical. Even the wrinkle in my cheek was in the same spot. These are fake, I whispered. Who the hell, why? Lucas didn't answer. He just kept staring at the photos like they were weapons. I flipped one over. On the back, in my mom's handwriting, it said, 4th of July, 1997. There were fireworks in the background, sure, but my expression was frozen, like I wasn't really there. I sat back in the passenger seat, heart pounding. Why would anyone fake childhood photos? Lucas didn't answer right away. Then he said, I don't know. But they went through a hell of a lot of trouble to make it look real. I kept flipping through the images. Every one of them had the same weird pattern, like someone had cut and pasted my face into a scrapbook of a kid that might have existed, just not me. None of it made sense. Not yet. But I knew this much. Something was seriously wrong. And Lucas knew it too. We didn't speak much on the drive home. I just kept those photos in my lap, flipping through them like I might have missed something. I hadn't. By the time we got inside, I felt hollow. Lucas threw his jacket over a chair and grabbed a beer, but I didn't move from the couch. I laid the photos out on the coffee table like puzzle pieces. There were 5 total, all different events, different years, but that same weird version of me. Lucas sat next to me and pulled out his phone flashlight. Okay, look, here's the camping one. He zoomed in on the edges of my face. See this? The lighting hits your face from the left. But that background? He pointed at the trees. Shadows go the opposite way. I leaned in. He was right. I hadn't noticed it at first, but once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. In the fireplace photo, the glow hit everyone's cheeks, except mine. My face looked pasted on, like it wasn't part of the room at all. Lucas pulled up a photo editing app and adjusted the contrast. Your face has sharper resolution than the rest of the image, he said. That's another sign. I rubbed my temple. Who the hell fakes childhood pictures? Who even thinks to do that? Lucas didn't answer. He just kept analyzing. Quiet, but intense. Then he held up one I hadn't focused on yet. It was a baby photo. Me in a yellow onesie, maybe 6 months old, on a pink blanket. My name was scribbled on the back in faded blue ink. Something feels off here, he said. I took the photo, looked at it harder. The baby was pale like me, but the eyes, the mouth, it didn't look like me at all. Not even close. It was like they just grabbed a random baby and hoped no one would ask questions later. I felt cold all over. I don't remember this, I said. Any of it. Lucas gave me a sharp look. You don't remember anything from back then? I shook my head. My first memory, real memory, I was in this waiting room. Maybe 4 or 5. There were weird plastic chairs and this old lady telling me to smile. I was dressed in something itchy. She said, "Big smiles now, sweetie. You're going to your new family." I hadn't thought about that moment in years. It just snapped back, like a rubber band. Lucas sat back, eyes wide. You've never told me that before. I forgot it, I said. Or maybe I pushed it down. My parents always said I couldn't remember anything before 5 because of trauma. They said we escaped a civil war in the Balkans, Serbia, Bosnia, whatever. I asked questions when I was little, but they made it sound like it was too painful. That I was lucky not to remember. Lucas frowned. Did they ever show you documents? Birth certificate? Immigration papers? No, I said. I didn't think to ask. I mean, who questions their whole childhood? I stood up and started pacing. My legs were buzzing. My stomach felt twisted. They told me my birth parents died. That we came here as refugees. That I should be grateful I made it out. Lucas rubbed his chin. What if that's all bullshit? My brain kept spinning. My mom was always controlling, yeah. But this was next level. Then another memory came to me. Something small. Random. One time, like 5 years ago, I said slowly, my mom got this Facebook message. I was helping her set up a photo album, and it popped up on her screen. Lucas raised an eyebrow. From who? I don't remember the exact name, but it wasn't American. Definitely foreign, like Eastern European sounding. What happened? She clicked it, stared at it for a second, then deleted it. Didn't open it, just straight to delete. You ask her about it? Yeah, she said it was spam. I let it go. I sat back down hard. My head was spinning. The more I thought about it, the more the cracks started to show. My entire childhood was either blank or a rerun of the same 5 stories they love to tell. The tulip recital, the county fair, the dumb Halloween costume, all backed by photos that might not even be real. Lucas leaned forward. You don't remember anything before 5. You've got fake-looking photos, a sketchy backstory, and a mom who deletes foreign messages without blinking. I stared at the coffee table, at the baby that might not be me. What are you thinking? He asked. I didn't know how to say it, so I just said it. What if I'm not their kid? Lucas didn't flinch. Then we find out who you really are. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Around 3 in the morning, I ended up in the kitchen with the lights off, sitting on the cold tile floor like a lost kid. Lucas had gone to bed hours earlier after I told him I needed some time. He didn't push, just kissed my forehead and said, I'm here when you're ready. So I sat there, knees tucked to my chest, heart pounding behind my ribs like it was trying to claw out. And then it started. Not a memory, exactly, just a smell. Orange peel, sweet and sharp. I don't even know where it came from, but it hit me so hard I gasped. I squeezed my eyes shut, and there it was. A hand, wiping juice off my chin. A woman's voice, soft but rushed. You don't tell anyone about Mama, okay? Or she'll go away forever. I blinked, and the image was gone. Just like that. I gripped the floor. My fingers curled against the grout, trying to anchor myself. But more pieces came. Me, in a bed too small, screaming in the dark. Over and over. Mama! 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 And then, footsteps. A door flying open. A man's voice, angry and quiet. We told you to stop that! Then silence. That choking kind of silence that follows a threat. I bent forward and pressed my forehead to the ground. My stomach heaved, but nothing came up. My entire body started shaking, not from cold, something deeper, like my cells were splitting. I remembered citrus-scented hands brushing my hair, a different voice humming a lullaby I couldn't place, a soft blanket that didn't match anything in our house growing up. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't imagining this. It had been there the whole time, buried under doctored photos and bullshit stories. I don't know how long I stayed on the floor like that, but eventually, I heard the bedroom door creak open. Bare feet padded softly down the hall. Lucas didn't say anything. He sat on the floor next to me, close but not touching, just letting me breathe. I remember her, I said finally, my voice so raw it barely came out. Lucas didn't ask who. He knew. My real mom. Her hands smelled like oranges. I wiped my face on my sleeve. And I remember being told not to talk about her. Like she was a crime, Lucas nodded once. Then we're getting closer. I looked at him, shaking. What if they took me? What if they weren't supposed to have me? He held my gaze. Then you do something about it. I stared at the fridge like it might give me an answer. Then I stood up, walked to the counter, and picked up my phone. Lucas didn't ask what I was doing. He just stood too, quiet, steady. I dialed. 911, what's your emergency? My throat caught. I don't know if this is the right number, I said, but I think I was kidnapped. The dispatcher didn't flinch. Okay, ma'am. I'm here. Can you tell me your name? Kathy. Kathy Novak. All right, Kathy. You're safe right now? Yes. Good. Can you tell me what makes you believe you were kidnapped? I told her. Just the surface of it. The fake photos, the weird gaps in memory, the names, the warnings. I kept it calm, even though I felt like my bones were vibrating. She took it seriously, said she was logging the call, and that someone from the department would follow up. Asked for my address, said it might take a few days, but they would follow through. After I hung up, I didn't feel better, but I felt real. It wasn't just a thought in my head anymore. It wasn't some half-buried suspicion or a weird story I kept to myself. I said the words out loud, and someone else heard them. I walked over to Lucas and wrapped my arms around him. He didn't say anything, just held me tight. I believe you, he said. And for the first time that night, I started to believe me too. 2 days later, they showed up unannounced. I saw their car pull into the driveway while I was still in my pajamas. Lucas was sitting on the couch, reading emails, but stood the second I froze at the window. I didn't move to open the door. I just stared through the glass as my mom got out of the passenger seat. Balancing a plastic container like this was just another Sunday. Lucas came up behind me. Do you want me to handle it? I shook my head. No, I got it. I opened the door, but only halfway. Hi, honey, my mom said, stepping forward like nothing had happened. I brought that butternut squash soup you like. My dad hovered behind her, arms crossed like he had a right to be here. Lucas walked up beside me. You didn't call. My mom gave him that fake smile she used when people inconvenienced her. We didn't think we needed to make an appointment to see our daughter. I stepped aside without saying anything. Let them in, but barely. Lucas stayed close behind me. They walked into the living room like they still owned the place. My mom placed the soup on the kitchen counter. My dad stood near the stairs like he wasn't sure if he was welcome. I didn't waste time. Did the police call you? My mom blinked, caught off guard. What? I made a report, I said. 2 days ago. About everything. She went pale. My dad didn't move. Lucas folded his arms. You want to go ahead and tell her the truth now? My mom glanced at my dad, then looked back at me. Her mouth opened, then closed. She sighed. You have to understand, it was complicated. No, I don't, I said. So explain it. She hesitated. You're not biologically ours. I didn't even flinch. Say it again. We didn't give birth to you, she said softly. My dad added, but we raised you. That matters too. I stared at them. So where did I come from? There was a war, my mom said, like she was giving a damn history lesson. It was chaos. We were working with a relief group. Your village was gone, overrun. You were alone, crying in a clinic. Bullshit, I snapped. You've told me my birth parents died. You've told me we escaped together. Now I was just sitting there, waiting to be picked up like lost luggage. She swallowed hard. We didn't mean to lie. We just... Yes, you did, Lucas cut in. You faked photos. You built an entire scrapbook of her life. You planned the lie. My dad stepped forward, defensive. She was too young. She wouldn't remember. We wanted her to feel like she belonged. So you forged my childhood, I said. That's what belonging looks like to you? Silence. Lucas grabbed the stack of photos off the coffee table and held them out. These are the same face pasted into different scenes. The lighting doesn't match. The angles are off. You didn't even try to make it subtle. My mom looked away. I stared at both of them. What's her name? My dad didn't answer. Her name, I said again. My real mother. Say it. He looked at my mom. She gave him a slight nod, like it was finally time to let the truth leak out. Maria Tatic, my dad said. The air left the room. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just stood there and repeated it in my head like a spell. Maria Tatic. Lucas put a hand on my back. How long have you known she was looking for me? I asked. My mom's lips pressed into a line. A while. Why didn't you tell me? She would have taken you back, she whispered. I nodded once. You're right. She would have. They didn't stay much longer after that. I didn't ask them to leave, but I also didn't say a single word as they walked out the door. Lucas locked it behind them. We stood there in the quiet, just me, him, and the name that changed everything. I turned to Lucas. We start now. He didn't even ask what I meant. He grabbed his laptop, I grabbed mine, and we sat down at the table like we were clocking in for a job. Maria Tatic, I said out loud, just to feel it in my mouth again. I typed it into Google. Dozens of results came up. Facebook profiles, old news articles, an obituary, but that one was a man. Try narrowing by region, Lucas said. Serbia, Bosnia, Montenegro. I added Serbia and hit enter. Still too many. He opened Google Translate on his phone. What's the Serbian word for mother? Majka, I said, hesitating. I think. You sure? Not even a little. He smiled a little, but didn't say anything. We kept going. I found a Maria Tatic listed as a high school principal in Novi Sad. Way too old. Lucas pulled up an Instagram for a woman by the same name who painted abstract art and lived in Berlin. Not even close. There was a bakery owner in Belgrade who looked promising until we found a video interview. She had green eyes and blonde hair. I leaned back in my chair and groaned. Why couldn't they have stolen me from someone named Jessica Smith? Lucas didn't laugh. He was staring at something on his screen. What? He turned it toward me. This one's private, but look at the profile pic. It was blurry. A woman standing outside a building, holding a tray of pastries. Dark hair, square jaw, small mouth. My mouth. Even through the filter, the resemblance punched me in the chest. I zoomed in. That's me, Lucas nodded. I think so. She had maybe 50 friends. No public posts. All her info was in Serbian. You message her, I said. I don't trust Google Translate not to call her a tree or something. Lucas opened the message box. Okay, how about something simple? My name is Kathy. I think you might be my birth mother. Can we talk? Add that I'm in the US and that I just found out. He nodded, typed it out carefully, then showed me. Looks good? I couldn't read half of it, but I said, send it. He hit send. I refreshed the page every 5 minutes for the next 3 hours. Nothing. Go to bed, Lucas said finally. She might not even see it tonight. I didn't want to. But I also couldn't keep staring at a blinking message icon like it might hatch. I fell asleep on the couch, phone in hand. The next morning, I woke up to Lucas shaking my shoulder. She replied, he said. My heart slammed into my ribs. I sat up, grabbed the phone, and opened Messenger. There it was. One line. Simple, clean. Możemy li razgovarati? Underneath the translation, can we talk? I stared at the message for maybe a full minute before I could move. Then I looked at Lucas. She wants to talk. He nodded. Let's set it up. We messaged back and forth a few times. Simple stuff, mostly through Google Translate. Finally landed on a time, 9 a.m. Her time, 3 a.m. ours. I didn't care. I set an alarm, made a pot of coffee, and sat on the couch with my laptop open and my heart ready to detonate. The call connected. Her camera turned on first. She was sitting in a plain white kitchen with a tiled backsplash and a chipped mug in her hands. Her hair was long and dark, pulled into a low braid. She wore no makeup. She didn't need it. It hit me like a punch, the shape of her eyes, the crease in her chin. That was my face. Hello, she said. Her voice was soft, thick with an accent but steady. Hi, I managed. I'm Kathy. She nodded slowly. I know. We just looked at each other for a while. I didn't cry. Neither did she. It didn't feel like a movie. It felt like something real, something sharp and raw sitting between us. Then she took a breath and started. You were born in Kraljevo, she said. In 1993. Your name was Anna. I almost said it out loud. I had to go get food, she continued. There was bombing in the north. Not close, but bad enough that people were panicking. I left you with my neighbor. They had no children. But I trusted them. She looked down for a second, then back up. When I returned 2 hours later, they were gone. No trace. I felt the air leave my lungs. I called the police, she said. Filed reports. Put up posters. They told me a couple had crossed into Croatia that morning with a child. Her eyes narrowed slightly. They used your new name. They said you were theirs. My throat burned. I didn't interrupt. They moved quickly. Too quickly. And once they left the country, there was nothing more the police could do. She leaned in a little. I found out later, they registered you as a war orphan. Told authorities your parents were dead. That made the paperwork easier. Lucas stepped into the frame from behind the laptop, silent but listening. Maria saw him and nodded once, politely. I tried everything, she said. Embassies, immigration offices. But because I no longer had a child with me, they said I did not qualify. Jesus, I muttered. I had no money, no power. I was 22. I worked in a bakery. I kept searching for years, online, in groups. I even messaged your mother once, your fake one. She deleted it. I remember, I said. I saw it. She told me it was spam. She shook her head. I thought I'd never see you again. I didn't know what to say. My hands were shaking in my lap. Why me? I asked finally. Why would they take me? She paused. Because in 1994, refugee status in the US was easier to get if you had a displaced child. It made the story cleaner. I felt sick. They didn't take you because they loved you, she said. They took you because you were useful. I nodded slowly. Every nerve in my body felt like it was short-circuiting. Your name was Anna, she said again, softer this time. You liked honey on toast. You hated socks. You used to sing to the pigeons. A stupid little laugh escaped from my throat. That sounds like me, she smiled gently. I know. 2 days after the call, Lucas drove me and Maria to the local precinct. She had flown in the night before on a temporary visa set up through the embassy. I don't know how she pulled it off so fast, but she came prepared. She had the original missing person poster. It was yellowed and creased, but her handwriting across the top was still visible. ANA, Tugodine, Nestala, 1995. Anna, 2 years old, missing since 1995. The desk officer didn't even try to act casual when he saw it. We were ushered into a back room. 2 detectives took statements. Lucas helped translate anything Maria couldn't get out in English, but most of it came through just fine. Her voice didn't shake. Mine didn't either. I gave them everything. Photos, timelines, the fake documents my parents had used to adopt me, screenshots of that Facebook message, all of it. They took it seriously, real seriously. One of the officers made a call right there in front of us and said, "You need to come in." Within 24 hours, it all cracked open. Immigration fraud, document forgery, child abduction, all on the record. There was no trial, no appeals. My adoptive parents lost their citizenship and were deported. Just like that. No goodbye, no explanations, no press. One morning, they were in their home, and by sunset, they were in federal custody. I didn't watch it happen. I didn't care to. I didn't feel guilt, not even a flicker. Kara called me once, just once. I let it go to voicemail. She sounded like she'd been crying. I don't know what to say. I didn't know Kathy. I really didn't. I swear. I'm sorry she stayed in the US. Her job kept her tied here. She didn't follow them out. Didn't defend them either. After that voicemail, she didn't call again. She sent one text 2 weeks later. "If you ever want to talk, I'll answer." I didn't reply right away, but I didn't block her either. Maria stayed in a hotel downtown while the paperwork processed. She made herself useful, went grocery shopping, walked to the library, even brought Lucas a fresh loaf of bread from a Serbian bakery she found 10 blocks away. "Your fiancé is very patient," she told me once. "He's a keeper," I said. She nodded. "So are you." The weird part? I didn't feel angry anymore, just done. Like my whole life had been sitting under a heavy tarp and someone finally yanked it off. All that weight, gone. They raised me, sure. Fed me, clothed me. But they built that life on a lie. Now it was over. And I could finally breathe. Maria moved into a small apartment 12 minutes from mine. Ground floor, 1 bedroom, no dishwasher. She didn't complain. Said the place reminded her of home. She came in through a family reunification program, fast-tracked, thanks to the case. The paperwork was clean and no one pushed back. It was like the system finally gave her a break. She got a job at a local Serbian bakery a few weeks later. Woke up at 4 every morning, worked 6 days a week, and came home smelling like flour and cinnamon. I stopped by sometimes just to say hi. She never made it weird. Just handed me a pastry and asked if I'd eaten. We didn't talk about the past much. Just little things, recipes, weather. She told me stories about her childhood, her hometown, what the winters were like. She didn't force a bond, and I didn't fake one. We let it grow on its own, like something planted late, but finally given sunlight. Lucas and I started planning our wedding around then. Nothing big, just something real, something ours. Maria was on the guest list, obviously. She offered to bake the dessert table herself. I told her we'd be honored. One afternoon, I heard a knock on the door and opened it to find Kara standing there. She looked like she hadn't slept in a month. "Hey," she said, voice low. "Can I come in?" Lucas was at work. I let her in. She didn't sit down. Just stood there with her arms crossed and her eyes darting around like she expected the floor to collapse. "That was really messed up," she said. I waited. "I mean, what they did. I didn't know. I should have seen it, I guess, but..." She trailed off. I nodded once. "Yeah, it was we stood there in that heavy silence for a beat too long." "I don't expect you to forgive me," she said. "I don't need you to apologize," I said back. "But thanks for showing up." She gave a weak smile. "I didn't know if I should." "You didn't have to. But I'm glad you did." That was it. She didn't cry. I didn't hug her. But it opened a door. After that, we started texting. Nothing deep, just stupid memes, funny videos, the occasional "did you watch this" message about a show we both liked. But it was something. And after the way everything exploded, something felt like progress. Some days I still caught myself thinking in circles about all the years, all the fake memories, all the times I felt like something was off but couldn't name it. I wasted so much energy trying to be the version of myself they wanted to see. But that version wasn't real. I was. And for the first time, my life was finally built on the truth. No more faked photos, no more bedtime stories designed to bury someone else's pain. Maria didn't give me a second chance at life. She gave me back my life, the one I was never supposed to lose. That was enough. 2 weeks after the call, I stood next to Maria in the same precinct where it all started. Same tile floor, same scuffed counter, same officer behind the glass. But this time, Maria wasn't just a name on a report. She was standing right there, clutching a folded piece of paper with both hands. The officer asked, "Can I help you?" Maria stepped forward and placed the paper down. Her hands didn't shake. "This is my daughter," she said. The officer leaned in and looked. It was the original poster, the same one she'd carried across an ocean, kept through 2 decades, creased and yellowed, but still whole. My baby picture stared back from it. Anna, 2 years old, missing. I didn't say anything. I just stood there and let it wash over me. No dramatic music, no swelling strings, no thunder, just quiet. I felt something shift in my chest, something that had been jammed in place since childhood. Dislodged, not with force, with truth. For so long, I chased pieces of myself in stories that were never mine. I swallowed lies like vitamins. I believed what I was told because it was easier than tearing it all down. But now it was down. They built everything on a lie. Every photo, every memory, every answer to every question I ever asked. They crafted a version of me that fit their needs. They wanted a daughter. They wanted a visa. They wanted to be heroes. They got everything they wanted until they didn't. And when it collapsed, I didn't feel pity. I felt release. Outside the station, Maria and I stood in the sun for a moment before heading to the car. She didn't say anything. She didn't have to. Her hand found mine, and I didn't pull away. That was the life they tried to erase, standing right there beside me. And now it's mine again. Tell me what you think in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.